America.
Thank you very much, Diane Jones. We're going to keep this moving. We have a lot of speakers, and they have a lot to say. So I'm going to go ahead and ask our next speaker. Coming up, Dave Bailey's coming on up. Before he speaks, I just want to say to everyone, and this has already been touched on, to everyone who's helping out today. We've got scores of people volunteering today, all over the place, helping out with the food and with the products and with signs and everything. And as was already said, we've had scores of people in the neighborhoods all around the county for the past couple of weeks passing out flyers. Many of you are here because of those flyers, and so I just want you to know we're thankful for you, and I know the people here who are here because of that are thankful that you came. So thanks. And our next speaker, Dave Bailey, also a local radio guy. He's on every morning on 1350 in Washington, the mouth of Brian Nieves. And he's just been a real friend to us. The local media radio stations have been so great. They promote our organization. They talk about the tea parties. They believe in what we're doing, and that's important to have some media on our side for once. So we're glad to have him here. Make him welcome, Dave Bailey.
All right. Thank you, Jedediah. How are you? I should say welcome, friends. You know, this is better than a family reunion because, I mean, what could be better than God, country, family, and barbecue? And all of us have a passion, which is why we're here, right? We're passionate about our country. And we're tired of the direction that it's been going lately. Actually, it's been going that way. Some of us are realizing for a long, long time, right? How many of you have your Patriots talking points? Your Constitution. This is the Patriots talking points, and I know that there's some of these organizations have some available. I know that there's some folks walking around giving them away. If you don't have one, I encourage you to get one, because as you read this, you get kind of fired up, don't you? Yeah, and you realize that, you know, how many of you, maybe over the last 5, 10 years, maybe 15 years, or maybe longer, you see yourself sitting in front of the TV in the evening, and you're listening to the TV or your radio, and you're sitting there and you're wondering, what country am I living in? And you want to literally just take something and throw it at the stupid TV, right? And the question that comes to mind, maybe you're like me, the question that came to my mind is there anybody else that thinks like I do? How many of you said that? Is there anybody else? You know, I used to work up at the Chrysler plant up there in Fenton. You know, I spent 30 years there, a bunch of good old boys and gals up there. You know, but it was a little hard to find somebody that felt like I did, you know. And so when I started looking at these groups, I tell you what, look around. These people, y'all feel the same way. And that's encouraging, isn't it? This has got to be inspiring to come out, and it gets me fired up to come out, and I had no idea what to expect. This is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. And I know you would have showed up even if it would have rained. Yeah, you would have been here even if the weather was bad. Because we had an event a week or so back over here, Hands Off Mental Health Care, and I attended that. And it was kind of rainy that night, and doggone it if there wasn't almost 400 people showed up. So, I mean, golly, it's great. It's really great. I would like to thank the Franklin County Patriots organization for inviting me to speak. Whenever I got the email, I didn't even hesitate. I have to tell you that as a co-host of the Brian Nieves Show on AM 1350, every day that I go over there and sit there, getting prepared for the show, we always have a kind of a tendency You know, I can tell you that originally the thought was, golly, how are we going to fill up a couple of hours of radio time? But how many of you know there's no problem filling up a couple of hours of radio time with what's going on? I don't know how many of you realize it, but even Diane brought it to my attention. I had thought about it earlier, but since she brought it up and she didn't mention it, I'm going to go ahead and mention it. How many of you also remember that it wasn't but about a year ago there was a great big circus that happened right over here? How many of you remember when the circus came to town? The Obama circus was right here, folks. They were right over here. Today we disinfected the grounds. What an opportunity. You can just put that on your resume. Wow. We've been in this battle for probably, Brian and I have been in this battle for about 15 plus, almost 20 years. Talking to individuals, talking to families. And what an opportunity for me to come up here and just, I'm not a professional speaker. I'm just pretty much a good old boy who, believed that it was okay to pledge the allegiance. It was okay to pray. It was okay, having a strong family was the best thing we could do. Try to keep as much money in our pocket as we can. Try to keep the government out of our lives as much as we can. And as you look around and we realize that this patriot uprising is kind of catching hold, isn't it? I mean, it's amazing. We are not alone. I mean, the news is even picking it up. And you start thinking, well, how come this is? Well, one thing I heard a long time ago, and maybe you can all relate to this, the truth is sweet to the ear. Amen? The truth is sweet to the ear. And you're making a mark. You really are. You're making a mark and you're leaving a mark. And everywhere you go, there's probably some politician, you can hear their heart. Right? Kind of like a deer hunter in the woods, right? And remember, Second Amendment is not about hunting. Right? That's right, brother. Liberty. Well, if it wasn't for you, here's the bottom line. If it weren't for you, your passion, your determination, you know what we'd be facing right now? Cap and tax, which I forget what the real name is because we never call it the real name because it really is cap and tax, right? That's the program where they allow people to come into your house and tell you what light bulbs you can have in your house, right? Remember that one? It hasn't gone away, folks. Hasn't gone away. Cap and tax and health control. That's right, it's health control. In our studios, in the Patriot Enclave, we have to tell everybody that comes in that wants to speak, in our studio, we call it health control because it has nothing to do with health and nothing to do with your care. It's about controlling everything about you from before the cradle to your grave. Amen? That's what it's about. It's about health control. And if we hadn't risen up, guess what? Those would have already been signed into law. We would all have those shoved right down our necks. And so thank God for you that you decided to do something about it. Back before April, I forget exactly, I was talking to Thomas Smith last time he was in the studio, and I said, I can remember, and some of you remember this too, the April 15th tax day parties were kind of, this Tea Party thing kind of caught on. There was a little ragtag bunch of radicals that showed up over here the fall before that, over here in front of the courthouse, protesting taxes here in Franklin County. Little ragtag radical group of people that got together. Y'all remember that ragtag bunch? And they were talking about those fat cats.